You are listening to the 8% Nation podcast, created to help you become a top producer in the insurance industry. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to episode number 5 of the 8% Nation podcast. Cody, how do you feel after our 13-hour delay in Melbourne?
I feel good, man. You know, we were in Florida. We expected to get back last night.
Yep.
You know, getting back today about noon.
Yeah.
Just, you know what? You just got to roll with the punches sometimes.
Yep.
That's how it actually has nothing to do with our insurance industry, but that's how it is in this industry.
I hear you, man. Yeah, we almost got back in the rental car, drove to Orlando, and flew, but the storm was going to keep us in Orlando just as much as it was in Melbourne.
Storms. So. Come on.
So if
Put me behind the wheel.
If we look a little fried, it could be because, we had a 13
Been up since 3:30.
Yeah. So, thanks for joining us today, Cody. I figured we would talk about something that you get asked more than about anything I've seen you get asked. I mean, you get asked about a lot of stuff, but the thing that I want to talk about today...
This is going to surprise people, too. They're not thinking what you're going to say.
Telesales.
Yeah, you weren't thinking that.
Okay. I want you to talk about telesales. There seems to be a massive buzz around transitioning from field sales to telesales, or also just making your telesales better. Not to say that field, sales is not good or whatever, but
yeah.
I just wanted to focus today, if we could, on, could you just talk through some telesales knowledge bombs for us? And, we maybe just tell the people where we were at for the last couple of days and why this is kind of a hot topic in our mind.
Yeah, I mean, we were at a, $25 million a year company in Florida. Saw several companies. We end up meeting a lot of amazing clients, and end up becoming friends and people that are doing big things in this industry. That's what happens when you do marketing for a lot of people. That's what happens. And we get asked a lot about telesales. My Success Society asked me a lot about telesales. Maybe doing something to help bridge the gap.
Teaser, look out.
Exactly, very soon. Because it's something that's just like constant. It's also, it sounds easy. I can wake up, roll out of bed in my pajamas, turn on my computer, put on a headset, call people that want to buy, and help them do that over the phone. Not quite how it works. Some people make it look that easy, but it's more difficult than face-to-face sales.
It seems like the nuances are more punishing. If you know what I mean? Like it seems like there's small things that make a big difference.
Unless you're like plugging into somewhere, if you're trying it on your own, it is tougher than face-to-face sales. It just is.
Why is that?
There's several reasons. There's face-to-face sales is, I'm driving to someone's house and sitting down with them. Phone sales, I have to make myself either buy live transfers, either plug into a company, either dial leads. But I've got to literally plug into the phone for 8 hours a day, make calls, put forth more effort than face-to-face sales, a lot more activity, and realize that the closing percentage, and it's weird, most agents don't get this, the closing percentage is going to be lower on phone sales than face-to-face sales. What that should tell you is you have to talk to more people to make phone sales.
But it's easier potentially to talk to more people because you're not driving, you're not getting stood up.
This is true.
Or whatever.
This is true. And most agents think it's, you know what, I can just talk to, I have the gift of gab. I can talk to anybody. I'm going to be great at telesales. It's not easy to talk to a random stranger, get them to trust you, get them to like you, build a relationship with them, build the value, fact find, ask the tough questions, and oh, by the way, get their social bank account information, go through a complete application, get them approved, and get them to share everything about themselves with you on sometimes the very first call.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably easier to go, no thanks, versus the awkwardness of shoving someone out your door. And like maybe there's some of that.
That's the other thing too, is like you just said, you have control when you're a little bit more control when you're sitting in front of them. I like to keep control of a conversation. I like to get them talking, asking questions, but dude, I mean, they can always hang up.
True. Well, let's just unpack that a little bit more. So we've been working with multiple telesales organizations, and why don't you first talk? Let's start off with a bang, okay? Why don't you share some numbers of some producers that you know for a fact are pulling home with some telesales, and you know what I'm talking about. You know where I'm leading this conversation.
Are you leading to what we just learned about?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I was amazed that there's a lady we met that has put up over 50K 2 months in a row.
Say that again for the people. $50,000.
$50,000 a month, 2 months in a row, by hand dialing leads and making sales. Unbelievable, super impressive. I mean, it's public knowledge that they put it up on Facebook. So it's like we can share it. It's not a secret, but it is unbelievable. Like
50,000.
yes, but she's also calling more people.
Yeah.
She's working harder. She's staying in the office till 10, 11 o'clock at night Eastern time so that she can talk to people 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night Pacific time. It's just, it's mind-blowing.
Well, let's unpack that a little bit more. So, we got a chance to sit down with this young lady. And, what are some specific things that she's doing besides just working hard and grinding it out, and she's got a good attitude? Yeah. What are some specific things that you feel that have led her to be that kind of producer?
She's a relentless, high activity, and super aggressive on the phone. I mean, no lead is ever dead. And she's extremely aggressive on the phone at getting someone to do what she wants. And there's just something about, you can't get, the one thing with telesales too that she's great at is most agents will get ran over. She ain't getting run over.
No, she's driving the car.
But most agents are not. They're in the passenger seat, and they don't know how to get in the driver's seat. And yes, you want to be in the passenger seat as in the driver's talking more than you, but somebody's got to ask those questions and lead that conversation.
How do you think she got... so do you think that's a natural talent that you're just born with, and the particular organization that we got to work with lucked out and got her, or was there something that drew that out of her?
I think it's a combination. I mean, yes, I think there's... What's funny is I was listening to a podcast, Cardone and Belfort recently, and they differed, Cardone doesn't think that people are natural-born salespeople, which I disagree with. I truly believe I'm a natural-born salesperson. Now, can you improve? Can you add skill to the equation? Can you learn? Can you implement? Can you plug in and actually role play and do it a lot, high activity, and get really great at it? But my first year in the business, I was doing things that most people weren't able to do because I felt like maybe I wasn't a natural-born closer. I don't know that anyone's a natural-born closer per se, but I was natural in the fact that I understood I had to listen, and I don't talk a lot, which is great. I understood that I had to build a relationship with people, and I was really good at warming people up and getting them to open up and share, and I still am. Same thing with her. And so I think there's a combination. I think naturally she's very gifted. But also the company has a great system. And the third level to it is she's constantly improving and still believes she could do more than 50K.
Oh, yeah.
And she said it out loud.
Multiple times. It wasn't even
And what most people don't get is either you're thinking, okay, that's amazing. Most agents would almost most people would get complacent.
Oh, yeah.
All I know is if you're out there right now and you're doing 10K a month, you have not reached your full potential. If you did 10K, guess what? You can do 20. I was talking to a dude named Joey from out in South Carolina. Good dude. I get to coach him a little bit, and he was doing 12K a month, 10, 12K a month. And I'm like, dude, you ought to be doing at least 20. So then he shifted that mindset and is instantly doing 20K a month.
That's awesome.
It's kind of funny how that works, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, I actually think he's a $40,000 a month producer, though.
You know what I used to tell people? Anybody can go take a bow and arrow, fire it at the wall, and go up to the arrow and draw the bullseye around the arrow that's already shot and be like, look what I did. I hit the bullseye.
That's good.
Why don't you create the target, aim for it, shoot it, and nail it? That takes more skill, takes more, attention to detail, and set your target high. You know what I mean? Some people just are arrive at that, and they, like I said, I mean, it would motivate me to know that I'm thinking I'm a high level producer, and there's a girl out there in Florida doing 5 times as me with the same amount of hours in the day. She doesn't have an opener. She's hand dialing. I mean, good grief. She has no secret sauce. I hear a lot of producers talk about their success, these high-level producers, and they'll talk about like how they've been successful, but there's kind of some things going on behind the scenes that have kind of like really helped them succeed.
Totally.
Like I may have done search engine optimization for the last 5 years and locked into that, and you just can't really do that as a normal finance expense agent. You can't blog for 4 hours a day or whatever like this guy can. But this woman just sat down, hand dialed, and knocked it out. It's just incredibly impressive.
Most people would never put that forth the amount of effort with a dialer, let alone hand dialing.
Well,
I'm just beyond impressed. I really, really am.
So, I guess I just feel like there's just a shift going on, and I'm not saying that everything's going to be telesales, but it seems like people are. One of the shifts is that the market is becoming easier to do business without like being face to face. It seems like. I mean, good grief, you can set up a bank account now, and you don't even, who's been into a bank location lately? You know what I'm saying? Like,
what's funny is, I have not, but people are getting mortgages online.
Yeah, not even talk to somebody, buying cars
insane.
With an app.
Yeah. So, What is that? Is it Carvana?
I don't know, but you can buy a car without ever talking to a salesman on an app. And people are doing it.
You can like go to this place and like, I don't know, and then it's like it's like a vending machine of cars.
Yeah.
We saw it in you'll probably know what I'm talking about. We saw it near Dallas in Texas.
Are you serious? I didn't know. I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, I swear. You buy it online and you go pick it up.
What?
No one's there, and it's like a 12-story vending machine of cars, and you like, I don't know.
It's crazy.
And it comes out and you drive off.
That's crazy. Well,
I'm sure there's a little more to it, but that's either way, it's nuts.
So I also hear you get a lot of questions on, okay, how many leads a week do I need for telesales? And I really like how you break down those numbers. Why don't you talk through, if you don't mind, if I'm getting started in telesales, if I'm trying to transition from a field agent into telesales capacity, give me some rough numbers on amount of leads I need. Do you want to talk about the opener now if you want to? Just kind of like the general structure.
There's two different schools of thought. There's one where you've got an opener transferring to like 2 closers, for instance. Or there's another one where and maybe the quality of lead is not as important in that capacity because the opener is pre-qualifying for health and bank account.
Okay.
And they're just making $250 a day. And then they're transferring 16. 8 to that guy, 8 to that gal, the 2 closers, and they're selling. That school of thought requires a little more capital. It's easier and less intensive on the closers, but it requires more leads.
Yeah.
Okay. A little more money, a little more leads. Maybe the quality isn't important because it's okay. I got to dial 1,250 people a week. Where there's another school of thought where you don't need an opener. You try to do better leads, higher intent leads as you would call them, and you don't spend as much money. You don't need as many leads, and you're working them yourself. So I've done both. I don't mind, sitting there getting plugged into the closer role naturally and just getting handed leads. I did a telesales challenge probably 2 years ago, and that's what I did. I was able to sit in my own call center and transfer me leads. I've also done the other way where I'm dialing leads myself. But one thing that'll get a closer burnt out in the latter role is if you don't have an opener and you're calling through leads, is if you're cold calling or you're calling like old stuff or like a lot of garbage, it can get depressing.
That makes sense. Okay. So why don't you break down the opener first for me real quick? So let's just say we want to go down the route of an opener. You say it's a little more capital intensive.
Yep.
Let's walk through how many leads a week do you think you should get? Where do you think you should get them from? And then let's talk about the numbers of, okay, if you call, walk me down to the point of contract. So how many leads, how many transfers, how many closes?
Yeah. I mean, the ideal situation, you need to go daily or weekly?
Whatever.
Well, let's look at the week.
Okay.
And then I can talk through the day at the same time. So ideally, you would need about a couple hundred leads a week through digital advertising, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, whatever. You would need to, if you're going to an opener, you would want them to call about $250 a day, about $1,250 a week. Out of those $250 per day, you would expect them to talk to about 48 people. So they'd end up talking to about 240 people for the week. Out of 48 people they talk to in conversations, you would want them to transfer about 16 of those that have some level of interest, can qualify health-wise, and have a bank account. And then out of those 16, you've got 8 going to one closer, 8 going to another. And then you look at the entire week, and it's 8 per day, 5 days. Each closer is receiving 40 pre-qualified live transfers per week. Off of that basis, you would expect to close at least 5.
Okay.
About 1 in 8.
Per closer?
Per closer.
Yeah.
10 sales between the two. About 1 in 8 worst case scenario, and even a new agent. And as someone gets better, they can expect much better results.
So that's around 40 apps a week or a month.
Yeah, between the two.
Okay.
Yep. So you need more leads. You need a couple hundred leads a week. You need you got to pay an opener base.
Okay.
You may or may not pay the closers with base plus commission or whatever, or you're one of them, or you're 100% commission, whatever. But you're looking at, they're dialing about 1,250 times a week. They're transferring about 200, they're talking to about 240, and they're transferring, whatever 16 times 5 is, what's that, 80? So
you're the numbers guy, not me.
It's 80.
That sounds about right. So is that product, you think you're talking final expense or Medicare, similar results? Or are they different?
That's more final expense related. It could actually be very similar.
I've found
with Medicare
that final expense and Medicare typically follow each other.
Yeah. The only thing is whether you're able to sell MedSup or Advantage, or if you're targeting T65 or over 65. Final expense is a little easier from I'm running this direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I could see similar numbers as long as you had that many leads. The only thing with, if you're only selling MedSup, then the pre-qualifier would be checking for, make sure they can health qualify, they have an account, and they have a Medicare supplement plan.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you may transfer less.
Okay.
But they may be much better.
Okay. Perfect. So, if you were starting this call center, how would you do it?
Okay. If I had the funds, as in money, I had some people to plug into the system, and I had the ability to generate as many leads as I want through someone like Landon and Secure Agent Marketing, then I would probably look at the opener closer model. If I didn't, and I was starting out and I wanted to personally be involved in the process and maybe add on one more person or whatever, I would start with the latter, trying to find better leads, less leads, no opener, and do it that way.
Got it. And grow into the opener role, maybe.
Yeah, normally the bigger a place gets, they normally go into the opener closer role, but that doesn't mean everybody does either.
Makes sense.
And I've done both, right, over the years. With an opener, I got to where I was closing 40 apps a month, and then on the
other yourself.
Do what?
You were closing 40 apps a month yourself. Good grief, dude.
But then on the other side, I still love helping agents more than selling, but I can sit down and freaking sell. On the other way, it's a little harder for me to put up that type of business unless they're better leads, because I've got to weed through everyone that isn't as good or that doesn't answer.
Yep.
Where the other way, you're not talking to anybody that don't answer the phone.
Yep.
You're not even doing any dialing.
And this girl that knocked down 50K had no opener. Was just hand dialing these leads.
Dialing. But they focused on better leads, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Which you need to. You have to.
Yeah.
In that model, you can't throw garbage to a closer and hey, go dial a couple hundred dials today and just bang your head against the wall the whole time.
So it sounds the way you're talking, you're making it sound easy to get 40 apps a month, right? It's obviously not that easy. So what are the bottlenecks you think that keep people from being successful in telesales?
You know what? All it is, I think the main thing is fear of the phone and actually putting in the activity. Most people that think they want to do telesales never put forth the activity that they need to put.
Yeah.
They just don't, because they're scared of it. They're not sure. They're uncertain. People that need to know everything before they do anything are typically not good fits for telesales. Yeah. Well, you're never going to understand everything.
We got to sit down and look at a performance book of a $25 million telesales operation, and it was eerie how congruent the activity was with the commissions.
Yeah.
You look at call volume, you look at, I thought it was interesting too, how the particular organization we were working with, they had team leaders and then they had people on their team, and you would kind of get like evolved into a team leader. And one of the guys that was a team leader, I was super impressed with this. He never took any of his own new leads. He only called aged leads and still outproduced his team members, so he could give all of his team members the new leads and say, look, I'm doing it with aged leads. You're doing it with new leads. Don't give me any excuses.
Yeah, I'm gonna just call B leads. Yeah.
That's fascinating to me.
Well, and there's agents out there right now that think you cannot sell over the phone and put up $20K in a month with B leads, and he's kind of proven the opposite.
It's interesting, but I mean,
a lot of it's just misconceptions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're given the good. At most companies, half of them are doing a couple grand, $0 to a couple grand.
Well, what do you mean?
A week.
Okay.
As in, like, half of them aren't making any money and are
Yeah,
struggling.
you're right. When we looked at the board, there was a lot of red zeros on there.
I mean, that's just part of it. But
I think it was about the top 30% was producing most of the sales, which is standard.
even top 20% probably. Yeah.
So.
It's most people, we always talk about, hey, success people do what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do. Most people are too scared to ever become successful at telesales. And some of us have a mindset that we're like, if I got to do it, that's what I'll do, But others are like, they would rather be comfortable than successful.
Which is weird to me because in the insurance industry right now, there's money to be made. I cannot even believe it. You know what I mean? So now is not the time to be chilling.
No.
We're not at our cruising altitude.
I think right now, most people would say this is the toughest time in our industry.
Why? What? Who's
I
saying
think
that?
it's the easiest.
Who's saying that?
Well, because you'll get older agents that would say, "Well, I used to get, 6% return on my direct mail back in the early 2000s." And it's like, right now is the easiest time in the history of our industry. I don't care. I don't care who's like. I will argue that with anybody.
Well,
I just believe it.
I also think insurance is getting sexy again too. I think there's a younger crowd.
We're bringing
coming
sexy
in.
back.
It's awesome.
Dylan's trying to, man.
Dylan, that mustache.
He's thinking about going back to a stash, bro.
I like it.
That'll do it.
All right, so
one stash at a time.
So you said so there's a bottleneck in the fear of the phone.
Yep.
I've also kind of heard, and I feel like this is to be true, but maybe you can speak to it, that one of the main bottlenecks on telesales is personnel and recruiting.
Yeah, it's a constant revolving door. If you actually have a call center and you're not just doing it yourself or you're hiring people, it will always be a constant revolving door. You're never going to get the perfect system that everybody succeeds in. It is not possible.
Yeah.
Some people hate that.
So what do you do to fight that? I mean,
just
how do you combat that, or is it just a part of the business?
You try to. The culture was awesome at this one place too. You try to help the culture as much as you can.
Yeah.
And realize that you got to hire people every week.
Yeah. Yeah. It was it was just infectious, that culture.
Totally.
I couldn't even believe it.
Most places that are really big and doing really well, there's more to the story than just the system. It's typically, okay, we've got a great system, but the culture always seems to be, like our buddy Ramiz, the culture always seems to be like a huge piece, no matter where
almost
we're at.
The biggest piece, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like when you talk to owners of these call centers, we have several clients that are large. I mean, they take so much pride in the individual performer and so much pride in the team. And, they'll talk about, Jennifer, who had this story, and I found her when she was at KFC, and then we were able to, she's going to have $100,000 a year this year, and she would have, never been able to be as successful as she can. It seems like that my successful multi-million-dollar friends or multi-million-dollar call centers that own multi-million-dollar call center friends all care, it seems like, way more about the individual than they do the business. I'm sure it's both, but they're very passionate about their team and culture.
I bet the team members can sense that and feel that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, we could all feel that
in
that rah-rah meeting we had.
Totally.
So, well, is there any other pitfalls to telesales that you could maybe, for that agent that is thinking about maybe transitioning from the field to the phone, or?
It all starts with marketing.
Okay.
It just does. And I'm not saying that because we do that for, 1,200 people a month. I'm just, or because we generate over 100,000 leads a month. I'm just saying it starts with marketing, because if you don't have people to talk to, nothing else matters. We're now working with 4 or 5 of the biggest call centers in the country.
Yep.
And there's probably a reason for that.
Well, I'll tell you,
And we're actually bringing on another one down in Texas that is, doing, I don't know, 12 million a year, and you haven't even met them yet.
I was going to say something, but I don't think I should. I will say that things are changing in the marketing world big time in terms of if you are still using direct mail only.
Well, for telesales,
There's still people that do that though, right?
I guess.
I mean, I've heard that they do that.
I guess.
So I don't know.
I can't imagine it.
And I don't know where else you would get your leads besides digitally if you weren't doing direct mail. What would you do? TV?
Telemarketing.
Tea leads.
true,
Okay,
too.
yeah. Overseas.
Still telemarketing.
And that's almost a ticking time bomb, maybe.
It can be.
But still very valuable. Not to say that it's not a good thing to do. Well, is there anything else you want to kind of leave the listeners with in terms of telesales? Any nuggets of wisdom that you could kind of impart? Because I don't know when the next time we're going to be back.
I mean, we're bringing on a call center owner for Success Society next week for our monthly coaching with a co-host.
Yep.
So if you're not a part of Success Society, the weekly accountability call, the monthly coaching sessions, the quarterly marketing session we do every quarter, where you're actually coming on tonight here in a couple hours.
Yep.
Reach out to Andy at CodyAskins.com if you want to be a part of that, because that Success Society is my way of helping agents learn all this little stuff that we talk about and all the questions they have. They can typically get the answer there.
So are those coaching sessions open Q&As? Like, can you type questions in for the dude?
Yep.
How else are you going to be able to ask large telesales owners on that? It's almost worth making sure you're a part of that before that, so you can get your questions in.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're like finding power players to like bring into that.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
Well, Cody, it was a exhausting and amazing trip.
It was. It was
fun, man.
It was good.
It was really good. That layover was a bummer. So if we're looking to sleep, that's sorry. We've literally been traveling a ton. Anything else, man?
I don't guess so, buddy.
All right. Thanks for joining us on 8% Nation. This podcast is dedicated to helping you succeed and be a part of the 8%, which is 92% of agents fail. It's a sad statistic.
Is it not improved yet? Come on, Landon.
It's 91% now because of 8% Nation. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a good afternoon.